Thought was real. It took everything that I had, yeah. Walked away, but you left one thing behind. You're wondering just what that is. Yes, you are. Well, the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking. When the world comes tumbling down, I'll be there. When the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking. We're gonna make a little love down by the water. Maybe I'm the sun, maybe I'm a daughter when the music man calls. That's when I gotta play. So I burn for the things I never had. I'm burning with hate, with love. Spin around. 'Cause as a boy I had a dream. Carry it with me today. Yes, I do. Well, the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking. Well, the walls come tumbling down, I'll be there. Well, the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking. Well, the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking. When the world comes tumbling down, I'll be there. Hey, 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 hey. When the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking. When the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking.
Giottos is so good. These chocolates are what? Chocolates. We're here about astrophotography. What are we doing? Wrong video. Whoops.
So I came here alone, feeling heat and the world coming over me. Got a way of your own, but I told you that life ain't a fantasy. Now I stew every day. Turn it up, it's just your way. Rocket fuel runs through your brain. Like I told you on the train, that it's the only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. That it's the only, 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 only thing she knows. She knows. throw on my telescope now. Damn, what's wrong with this thing?
Another lost Lone Ranger. Can I break this spell? One thing right, do I make you two things wrong? If I want that fine line, I will always take it wrong. If I just do left, I can hear from the right. I sleep all day long, and then I'm breathing through the night. I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I've felt a lot of women who refuse to understand. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take the world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take all your money and whatever else spring. And I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 Guitar Players Planet.
It's gotta mean something. It's gotta.
sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of new. Oh, na 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 na. Seems to me that I have lost my old friend. Got the sunset off the highway again. Then I get lost on a long summer day. I must go back before it's too late. You're afraid, you're feeling alone. Time and space can never unfold. The holidays can ring in your fear. The ghostly embrace can only mean tears. And I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back for land of new. Oh, na 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 na.
Someone to take me down at night. Someone to make my day. New revelation fills my soul. Oh, I can waste away. You distracting my attention. You're all that's on my mind. You not looking for perfection, but you're too hard to find. Now the first night is coming, and I know what to do. You know that nothing feels sweeter than someone I need to taste your life again. I need a rendezvous. New revelation just feel my soul. Beginning and ends with you. Distracting my attention. You're all that's on my mind. Not looking for perfection, but you're too hard to find. Now the first night is coming, and I know what to do, yeah. You know that nothing feels real than someone else.
So it's a wonderful night tonight. It's really good. You know, cloudy nights and not cloudy nights, but clear dark sky and was it clear outside. Says it's going to be a a wonderful night tonight. I mean, last night was wonderful. Tomorrow's supposed to be great. So I think I'm going to leave the telescope out all night. It's going to be a really nice night tonight. So I'm hoping to get some really good shots of uh, cave night, which is part of my Freeman's D&D. I know it's scary. My eyes are kind of crazy. Pretty cool. But I'm super excited for tonight, and let's see what kind of data I got.
Dirty. I swear to God, these clouds are just pushing me the off. I don't understand. I don't listen to things anymore. I don't take it. New York, you suck. And you know what? I'm so done with all this. My telescope out here showing out, and all I got is green clouds and PhD and beeping at me for no goddamn end. Unbelievable. What am I gonna do? I need to move. So fair. I hate this.
What you thought was real, you took everything that I had, yeah. Walked away, but you left one thing behind. You're wondering just what that is. Yes, you are. Well, the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking. When the world comes tumbling down, I'll be there. When the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking. We're gonna make a little love down by the water. Maybe I'm the sun, maybe I'm a daughter when the music man calls. That's when I gotta play. So I burn for the things I never had. I'm burning with hate, with love. Spin around. 'Cause as a boy I had a dream. Carry it with me today. Yes, I do. When the world stops spinning around, I'll be rocking. When the walls come tumbling down, I'll be there. When the world
Giottos are so good. These chocolates are what? Chocolates. We're here about astrophotography. What are we doing? Wrong video. Whoops.
So I came here alone, feeling heat and the world coming over me. Got a way of your own, but I told you that life ain't a fantasy. Now I watch you every day. Turn it up, it's just your way. Rocket fuel runs through your brain, like I told you on the train, that it's the only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. That it's the only thing she knows. She knows. So it started to rain. Met a woman with eyes like a hurricane. Told her she was the one. And she looked at the moon, calling me and said, now I watch you every day. Turn it up, it's just your way. Rocket fuel runs through your brain, like I told you on the train. Well, it's the only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. Said it's the only thing she knows. Got up on the wrong side and I'm getting burned again. That glass is looking brown today. Well, it's the only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. Said it's the only thing she knows. I woke up on the wrong side and I'm getting burned again. That glass looking brown today. Said it's the only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. Said it's the only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. Only thing she knows. The only thing she knows. Said it's the only thing she knows. She knows. She knows. She knows. What the hell's wrong with my telescope now? Yeah, what's wrong with this thing?
You're the lost Lone Ranger. Can I break this spell? Do one thing right. Do I make you two things wrong? If I want that fine line, I will always take it wrong. If I just do them, watch it live from the right. I sleep all day long, and then I bring them through the night. I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all of the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I've felt a lot of women refuse to understand. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take the world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money, whatever spring. And I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 Guitar Players Planet.
It's gotta mean something. It's gotta.
Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the lands of the new. Oh, na 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 na.
And of course, it didn't do what I wanted it to do because it's being silly. So let's see what happened here. Why? Oh, you know what happened with this? Why is Eric not in his box? Eric is not in his box tonight.
Get in the box! Get in the box!
Layers. Let's see. Why isn't Eric in his box? You know why? Because the last time we were on a 2-up, it was Dave, and Dave isn't there anymore. That's why it's a black box. So let's see. And Eric green screen. Where are you, Eric green screen? No, that's definitely not it.
That's definitely not it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
Is it this one? No, is that it? No, that's not it either.
No, not quite. We all float too.
There you go.
There we go.
There you
Now
go.
you made Eric larger.
I had to make it larger when what's his name when Dave was on, but we'll just make it a little bit. Where is it? And 3, 4 makes it bigger. Yeah, 3, 6, and 3, 5, 5. There you go. There we go. We're set.
There we go. What's
Rock
up?
and roll. What's up, everybody? I think we're good. And I see a clown behind the telescope. Yeah, well, that's just me. I'm always a clown behind the telescope. But you know, it's just one time I got dressed up. But how's it going?
We all float.
You know, I still
We all
haven't seen
float
the
in space.
second one. I still haven't seen the second one yet. You know, but I mean, nothing kind of beats the Tim Curry Pennywise. I'm sorry, there's nothing.
So good. So
But anyway, no, we're not off the
up,
rails. We're
everybody?
just playing
What's up,
around a little
everybody?
bit.
Happy
How's it going,
Friday.
everybody? Yeah, it's Friday. It's picture of the month. It's picture of the week. It's newbie night. So it's we're gonna be doing some Nina introductions tonight.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit of Nina intro.
Yeah, and you know, I saw some people already throwing out topics in there saying, "Hey, maybe I could learn the advanced sequencer tonight." Well, maybe we'll touch on it a little bit, but I mean, that's may be a show in itself because that could be a kind of long.
It can take a while.
Yeah,
It can take a while, but
everybody's got their own way to skin a cat, right? So I mean,
Exactly.
you know, like my advanced sequencer could look completely different than Eric's advanced sequencer and do the same thing, you know. So you know, that's something that we could kind of do. I got Nina running on my Eagle over here, so we could go play around with that a little bit.
But I'll be honest.
What's up?
I'll be honest with you. I personally think when it comes to Nina, forget the basic sequencer and just go ahead, just go jump right in, just jump onto the deep end and start learning the advanced sequencer, because once you get the basics of the advanced sequencer and understand how it works, it is super easy.
Yep.
It is super, super easy. It's almost, it reminds me of coding for kids, the block style of coding where you have, or with Raspberry Pis, where you have the blocks to have a command within, and you just link the blocks together. And when you link those blocks together and you press the play button, it runs it just like every block command is.
Yep.
So it is very easy. Eric, you're making me feel very stupid right now.
Listen, it's very, very easy to do. You literally drag and drop the actions, and you got to tweak it a little bit with the advanced sequence.
A little bit.
You know, but once you get all the background stuff done, that's 90% of what you need to do. If you sit there and have your equipment set up the right way and your plate solving set up the right way, and and have the stuff. A lot of people don't do this, but have your planetarium software pointed to Nina, because if you do have an issue in the field, you could actually use that to get your coordinates to where you want to be. Also they have a new, well, not new, but I mean, they recently they put up a new offline sky cache where with thumbnails, and that saved me in Nebraska, because Nebraska, good luck getting any internet at all. You weren't getting internet over there, so I relied heavily on the offline sky map, which literally got me right on the seahorse, and I was good to go. But it's a lot of fun, once you get it running right, it's a lot of fun. You literally sit here, you want to talk about push your dummy, boop, push the button, and if you feel a little some sort of way about the meridian flip, like I do some nights, I kind of watch it through the meridian flip and then go to bed. But the only reason why I do that is because I set up my scope every night. If you're set up every night in a dome where wires and things don't move, then after 2 or 3 nights, your meridian flip, you'll sleep right through it. But it's a really, really cool thing. Nebraska is the Stone Age state when talking about connectivity. Oh yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. It is so bad. If we only had Polar Align Ultimate, we were talking about that Wednesday night with Alan Mitchell about auto polar aligning with motors on the Altitude and Azimuth. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. I mean, it's got to happen sometime.
It will.
All right.
So let's see.
So I got my list here of stuff to talk about. Oh, you can't even see it because it's partial green.
Okay.
It's like yellow green pads, so you can't kind of see it.
Right.
These are like the notepads that the presidents use to keep their notes, to kind of, so they can't see anything.
So what I'll probably do is I'll go through my sequencer, and just go through some of the basic stuff, and we can just build off of it. Like I said, a lot of it's just building. It's just like laying blocks, like Lincoln logs. You know how Lincoln logs, you would just stack things on top of one another and just keep going until you built your cabin. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah. So I guess we could get, because we got a lot of stuff to do tonight. If we're gonna go around the background stuff on Nina and how to set it up, we still have to do picture of the week and picture of the month as well. So let's just jump right on in and get into this. Let me switch screens a little bit and just capture 2. There we go. And let me get a layer here real quick. Layers, and we'll make layer 2 Mr. Eric. There we go. You there? There you are. And let's move you a little bit to the right. And zoom X, pan X. There we go. Move you to the right. We'll put me to the left. And where am I? I'm not. That's fine. Layers. 60 chroma key. There we go. And then we'll move me a little bit to the right, maybe. We'll throw me over there. There we go. All right. So, and there we go. There's Nina. All right. So, I'm gonna go under the assumption that you've actually loaded some stuff in here. But before I get into that, let's get into Nina, right? The web page, and I just do Nina Astronomy to find it. And there it is. And then just go to the download section, and here's where you can kind of download Nina. They do have a fairly new beta in here, but I've found I'm on 3.0 right now. You'll see, and if you ever want to know, it's right up there, 3.0. Did I just? No, I didn't. Okay, where is it? There we go. And then you can download it here, and this is where you also get all those lovely sky atlas images and offline sky maps that I was talking about down at the bottom. Make sure that you definitely download the Sky Atlas image repository here, and whichever one you like. If you have enough room to get the one with the thumbnails, it looks kind of nice. If you don't need the thumbnails and you just want the offline sky map, you could do without the pictures. You could go with the regular offline sky map. So it will it's like an offline plate solver for Nina. So definitely kind of get these two ready to go. Now that you have those all loaded up and ready to go, you're going to want to download another couple of things if you haven't done. I'm starting this from really basic ASCOM. ASCOM for astronomy. You're going to need this. This is the communication tool that you use for communication between Nina and your devices. So definitely get this. You can get download right here for 6.2. And then for any devices that it does have, like mounts and stuff, you could download from the downloads. And then I believe it's under, where is it? Driver downloads. Where's the, there it is. So here it is: camera, dome, filter, focuser. All the stuff is right here. So if you want something for your specific mount, you go to telescope mount at the bottom, and then it has some of the stuff here. Now, if your mount isn't listed here, you could definitely go to the your distributor's website and grab it off there. 99.9% will have it on their website as well. So go check it out. And if you're one of the special people that have an alpaca mount, you could download the alpaca drivers as well in here. But we won't get into alpaca here. The little alpaca up there. But we're just going to talk about the standard ASCOM for astronomy now. Okay. All right. So that being said, ASCOM, you're also going to need a plate solver.
Yep, you will.
What's that?
They say, yeah, you will. There's several plate solvers out there that you can choose from. But you can go more into detail with this, Dan, if you want. But some of the more popular ones are ASTAP, Plate Solve 2, and Plate Solve 3. Those are pretty popular. I personally use a combination of Plate Solve 3 as my primary, and then I use ASTAP as my secondary plate solver if Plate Solver 3 fails. So you should definitely go ahead and download those, at least 2 of them, so you can have a primary and a secondary plate solving engine to run. So
yep. And just so everybody knows that the plate solve software that he was talking about, 2 and 3, come from PlaneWave. It's written by PlaneWave. So you go to the PlaneWave site right here, and you can download it from their software department here. So you could definitely do that. And like I just showed right before that was ASTAP, which is from HN Sky. Now with ASTAP, you need a couple things. Plate Solve, I believe you need to download some catalogs as well.
You do.
I remember right? Yeah. So depending on your focal length and your image scale, you will have to get certain maps to know what the plate solver is looking for. This is no different. So with this being, wow, that's a really slow website. Jeez, it just but for this, it's by the same thing. You could download your Windows, the program, and then the database. I'm an idiot. I always get the D80, which is the very large star database installer. So that has ridiculous amount of stars, and it takes up a lot of space. If you don't have a lot of space, that's fine. The large database installer will be fine. If you have a really super small telescope with a wide field base at a G5 or W08, right here is fine. So just to make sure you download the right catalog. The D80 and the D50 I've been using for a long time, and they both work pretty well. We spoke about the Sky Atlas and the offline sky map. And again, just don't forget about your equipment drivers. Every equipment driver you'll need, either your ASCOM or your native Windows driver. You're definitely going to need that. And I'm just going to get the window because I can't see this. So I'm going to put this over here. Alpacas move too much and tend to spit.
Alpacas move too much to spit.
No,
No.
You know, I don't know about that.
But they make nice, jackets and sweaters. And,
they do
stuff like that. Nice and warm blankets. So, just saying.
Cool. All right. Anything you want to hit on? Anything with far as like installing software or anything that I might have missed? You want to go over?
If you want to just go off of just building this out, you may. Just a recommendation. Are you going to set the simulators up? Just choose simulator.
Oh yeah, well no, that's just the install. So then I got profiles and equipment setting up and imaging tabs and all that kind of stuff. So
real quick, when it comes to like with Nina, you can create if you have different imaging setups, different cameras with different filter wheels, different telescopes. You can create profiles. You can create as many profiles as you need based off of the equipment setups that you will be using. And that will make it very easy for you in the future to run your particular sequences by having these profiles set up prior to everything else. All right. So that's one thing that I would just I would definitely consider is building your profile for each of your rigs. For me and for Dan, as you can see here, Dan has several different profiles based off of the different telescopes, maybe cameras, filter wheels, all of that stuff.
Location,
he has that all set up. So whatever he's going to use a particular rig, his particular system, imaging system, he can simply go to that, select that profile, load the profile, and then he can start those particular pieces of equipment that are part of that profile and get things set up so he can begin his sequencing.
Exactly. And you can see in here, I got a couple of things. I got one for Cherry Springs for my Nix and my FRA 400. I got one for my house I got 2 for my house. I got 3 for my house. I got 4 for my house, 4 different setups. And then I got Nebraska Star Party still in there. I got Ron's Canada, so when I was in Canada, and Starfest up in Canada. So I got all these different places. And if you take a look, if I go to Starfest, right, and I load the profile, come on. And of course, it just crashed on me.
Okay. Now, one thing you can also do, and AZ Forerunner brought this up, which is very, very good when it comes to profiles, is if you are using different electronic focusers, say you have a ZWO EAF, maybe you're using multiple EAFs on different systems, creating profiles for each individual system that includes their own specific electronic focuser, be it a different EAF, things like that. You can then set up you can then set up, put in the step size, the step settings, the backlash settings, all of that. and not have to worry about that pretty much again. Because once you can set it and everything is locked in, then you don't, then it's all good. Another thing is if you have these particular profiles, what you can also do is you can make quick duplicates of these profiles by pressing on next to the plus symbol. There are the two boxes, which is basically creating a duplicate or a copy, and then you can name that under the general area. You can rename that copy to whatever you need it to be, give it a description, things like that. So that'll make it also a little bit quicker for you once you create one profile to start creating the others. Then you can then quickly customize those different that next profile as you need it.
Right. So just to Eric's point, if you sit there, like right now, I got Starfest, I got all my latitude, longitude down here. You could change the name, like he said, up here in the name up here, and that will change it over here. But to his point, if you highlight that and it's the default and you just hit copy, it just made a copy of it down here. It says Starfest FRA 400 next copy. So let's say I have I got the FRA 400, or I got a different scope, but I'm still using the same camera and EAF or whatever focuser I am. So I know the step size for that focuser. I know everything is right. I know everything is fine. So now all I got to do is change the scope, and we could change that under the equipment tab, and we could just change the focal length of the scope, the name of the scope, and keep everything else the same, and then change, if you're in a different place, change your latitude and longitude, and then save that as a new profile. And the good thing is it's an automatic save, right? Every time you change something in somewhere, it automatically saves it in the profile. So there's no way to kind of screw up the saving and forgetting how to save. Another couple of things
but here's the thing with that, because it's an automatic save, again, take notes, because if something goes wrong, you may want to make sure in certain cases, say you're working on your focus or anything like that, know what was the last thing you changed, especially if you're getting started. So that way, because it's automatically saves every time you make a change, that way, if something goes wrong, you can go back to those previous steps and say, okay, because sometimes I forget, what did I just do? Or what are the things that I just do? Because what are the things I just did because things were broken? At least if you write things down when you're getting things started and you have those notes, you can go back as somewhat of a history or something. Because I don't know if there's no undo.
No, but what you can do is, and what you really should do is, before you make any changes, make the change in a copy like I just showed you. You know what I mean? If you have a profile that works, don't change that profile. Make a copy of it and then change that profile. And so if you screw it up, you have a backup.
Right.
That's the only thing that I would change on that. But taking notes is definitely a good best bet. And definitely a good idea to do that. Say, hey, all right, I changed my step size from 80 to 300. Well, now my focuser don't work, so obviously let's go back to the 80, so, something to that effect. A couple of fun things on here, just so everybody kind of looks. Well, first things first, remember we said to download that Sky Atlas, right? That Sky Atlas. You want to make sure you know where you saved it, and you're going to want to point it to wherever it is. Okay, point it to your C drive, wherever that folder is. Make sure you point needed to there. All the rest could stay the same. If you want your profile chooser on startup, if you want a list of profiles, like what PhD does, it gives you a list of profiles when it starts up. If you want that on, you could do it. If you don't want it on, it'll always go to the default. You would have to do it manually. I like to have mine on. And you could also have some fun here. You could change colors. You could do a whole bunch of stuff. Now I'll never get back to the one I want. I think it was Persian. Yeah, it was Persian. So you can do a bunch of stuff, but don't forget to put in your latitude and longitude also as well. And you could do that. Options, loading, change name, set sky, set light, equipment. All right, then time to bang away at the equipment tab over here. We're still under options, right? We're still on the options, and we're on the equipment tab here. Here's where you put in all the stuff for your equipment. Now, pixel size for your camera, your bit depth, your telescope name right here. If you want to change the name, you can put that in there. Put the focal length in there, the focal ratio. Okay. If you want to put a mount name, you can put a mount name. This is kind of new, so we're gonna do a Nix 101 because that's what this profile is for. You can put a settle time for it. I have a 4 second. That might be a little bit long. Let's change that to 2. And coordinate sync, time sync. If you have a weather map, you can put that in there. If you have weather underground, an API key, you can throw that in there. And this should actually be changed to Primaluce Lab Eagle because that's what I use this on. And what the GNSS does, it's kind of like it's like a souped up GPS kind of. It's able to use more satellites than your regular GPS. So you could use that. And here's where Stellarium comes in, or Cartes du Ciel, or whatever you have as far as planetariums. As long as you have this set up right, you put on Stellarium, it'll automatically do the port 8090, right? And just need to have the remote server on Stellarium.
Yeah.
So when you go into Stellarium, you got to have the remote server on.
Dennis asked, where did you get that Star Atlas again?
So it's on the Nina download page all the way down at the bottom. It's like the first link on the bottom. It says Star Image Repository or Sky Map Repository, something like that. It's right at the bottom. And you're going to go into plugins. And then you're going to go under, where is it? Is it under telescope control? Yeah, telescope control. Configure that. Okay. And make sure that this is all set up right. It won't connect. You got to have your ASCOM driver. Once you have your ASCOM driver set up, you're fine. And then on the, where is it? Let ASCOM decide. User interface. You're going to choose which telescope is here. It'll choose the Nix. Save that. And I think that's it. Isn't there a remote? Isn't there a another setup here? Or
you have your telescope control, right?
Yeah, that's it. And make sure it's loaded at startup.
Yep.
I thought there was something for
that
server.
Should. Yeah, you'll name it. You'll choose your ASCOM.
Maybe not. Maybe they took it off. So just make sure.
I think it's just telescope control.
I thought there was a remote server tab somewhere that you had to do the.
I don't think so.
I really thought there was, but I could be wrong.
Maybe it's old. Maybe that was from an old build.
Could be.
Let's take a look. See here. Okay, we'll talk AZ Forerunner. We'll talk about.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I got it. All right. So it's under remote control. So when you go under remote control, make sure this is loaded at startup as well. I knew there was another one. You got to configure it, and you got to have the server enabled. If you don't have the server enabled, you did everything else, it's not going to happen. So just make sure that the server is enabled and you're good to go. And then what that actually does for you, if you are offline and you could sit there and, I don't know, we'll choose Spica. Okay, and we'll choose that in Spica, and we'll minimize Stellarium real quick. And I'm skipping things a little bit right now, but I just want to show you what this does for you. if you go under framing,
Framing.
okay, and you're going to take the coordinates right here, you're going to hit this guy right here, get coordinates from planetarium. So I'm going to click on that, and it automatically sets up for Spica.
Yep. Which is
So
very nice.
that's really nice. You don't need to do it that way, but if you're having an issue with any other, framing or anything, you could actually. This is just another way to do this.
And that's really cool. That is a really good use for having Stellarium integrated into Nina. Say, for example, you want to image a particular object, galaxy, what have you, that may not be in a particular catalog or in the catalogs that you're using. Maybe it's something you just heard about that hasn't been cataloged, anything like that. At least this way, what you can do is, if you know your RA and declination, all of that stuff, you can plug that into Stellarium. I mean, you can, I guess you can even plug it in here by manually, but I'm just
you
saying
can do it up here.
you can do it here. But if you're doing it in Stellarium, you can set everything up in Stellarium and then go back to Nina and press the get the coordinates from the planetarium, and there you go.
And let's just say you wanted to do something like crazy, right? So let's say, let's see, it's 8. We'll make it a little darker, right? Okay. And we'll just say that, I don't know, you know what? I like this part of the sky right here.
Mhm.
I don't care what's there, but that's where I want to take an image. I don't care. So now, if I do the same thing and I just go into Nina again, and I just click this button, no matter what it's clicked on, it's going to take a picture of it. Okay, so
Ooh, but there's some dark nebulae.
yeah, you got some stuff up here. We could just kind of, move this, kind of up in there somewhere over here. Here you go. Oh, it's kind of being a little slow, being a little stupid. There we go. That way. Backwards. Why is it backwards? Yeah. There's that one.
Yep.
There's a couple big ones here. There you
Yeah.
go. 169, 183. There you go. And this will all change, right? So if I move this around, those coordinates will change to match my framing. There you go. Cool. All right. Any questions so far about nothing
About
really?
the framing? Not yet. No. One thing AZ was asked, what about the weather?
Well, I don't know if that was part of the weather, part of the here.
Right.
Now, if you have an API key, so you're gonna have to register for an API for a weather station. So if I have my own weather station, I didn't put it up here because I don't want everybody getting the names of my weather station. But but
Understandable.
you could get your own weather station in there because it's usually under mine's under Weather Underground or the station ID. I have a station ID actually. Okay. And you can put that in there and it will grab the weather from your weather station that's updated on Weather Underground, which is updated every like 4 or 5 minutes. Now that may not be quick enough for you. It's a lot could happen in 4 or 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So you want something that updates as much as you possibly can. That's why sometimes a thing like a Uranus Media might be good for you. Or you want to spend a crap ton of money, you can get the Boltwood 3, which just came out. And really, something like that comes out. What's his name? The other guy. Who's the other guy? Lunatico Astronomia, whatever.
Okay.
He puts out a good weather station too that updates every couple of minutes. Lunatico, I think, Lunatico.
I
Really,
think I may have seen those. If come out of Italy.
it might be Italy. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe somebody could throw that out there. But I mean, let's see.
Yeah.
Lunatico, ASGRONOMIA, I think. Lunatica Astronomical or whatever, and it is from where you from? And consent, Espanol. I thought it looked like it was Spanish. Contact us. It is in Madrid,
They're
Spain.
Spanish.
Madrid,
Spain. Okay.
Spain. There you go. So he puts out some pretty cool stuff. He puts out, I want to say it was like $400. It wasn't really that kind of crazy. Sky quality measuring. Yeah. So he's got a cloud detector, anemometer, the whole thing. Relative humidity. I mean, he's got a whole bunch of stuff, but relatively, not cheap, but I mean, cheaper than a Boltwood. I'll tell you that. Rain sensor version, $500 with sky quality. I mean, pretty decent plus the shipping, I'm sure, but I mean, that's something else. Pretty cool. Yeah, they're Spanish. They are from Madrid, Spain. All right. So that is the options and equipment. The plate solving tab. This is where you set your plate solver. Yeah, I have a
Yep.
blind solver as well. So if I need any, but I haven't been using that a lot because I've been using the offline star map if I needed an offline solver. So I haven't
Okay.
been using that so much. Have not been using any of that. So I'll just use ASTAP. And then, if I know I don't have any signal, all I do is when you go up, where is it? It's under, let's see, framing. And now it's actually set for the last time I used this, which was in Nebraska. Oh my God. The offline sky map is already set. Okay.
Yep.
Normally I have this set at the hips to fits sky survey. I find that seems to work pretty well. So if I use that, and then let's say I want to go to M42, just do M42, click on it, load image, and then in a couple of seconds, hopefully, it'll pop up with make sure you have your camera parameters in here as well, and your focal length. So you want to know what size your chip is, because if I change this to I don't know, 3000, there goes the chip size, right? It was 6248. That's what my real chip size is. So, and if I didn't want to take a picture of that and I wanted to switch to a Horsehead Nebula, I would just switch it to up there. And you could do that. It's very, very intuitive. Right? You could zoom in, zoom out, all that. All right. Imaging tab. Equipment. Yeah. Imaging tab. Here you go. So
Imaging tab is something that is going to be
drive you nuts.
It's going to drive you crazy, and it will probably be somewhat unique for everybody, or for at a certain level, because there are so many different tabs and so many different pieces of information that you can or don't want to necessarily look at, and you basically are just going to build out your imaging workspace the way you feel most comfortable in seeing your data and seeing the information. So one person's imaging area is going to probably be totally different than another's. I know mine is totally different than Dan's and things like that. So just be aware.
Yeah. So, there are a lot of things that you could do up here. Up on the top is all of the modules that you can kind of do up here. So there is the image, which is the one in the middle down here for me. And you can move these around. It's very you can move it over here. You can move it over there. I like mine on the panel here, and I actually like it being a little funny to me. There you go, just like that. There we go. There's the image. This is This side got messed up. Oh, there it is. Flat panel, image history, and sequence. The sequence, when I make one, will pop up here. And then I got all my equipment up here. I got my filter wheel, got my
Yep.
focuser, got my camera. Okay. This is my
Yep.
histogram here when it pops up. And this basically is an imaging tab where if I just want to take a quick snapshot and I want to see what's going on, I could change this. And this will all be on grade if a camera was connected. And excuse me, Pepper wants to go out. Sorry. Ugh.
Yep. So let's see here. Maybe I can.
There you go. I'm back.
Okay, cool. Sorry. You can keep...
No,
All right,
did you want to go over something?
No. I didn't know how long you were going to be, so I was going to maybe switch over to my screen, and then I can share a few things that way as well. But you got it. So keep going.
So if you wanted to add any of these things, let's say, you just turn it off and on by clicking on it.
Right.
Okay.
Now, there are times where there are certain plugins that you download will add an icon to the left or the right bars that
Or
you
here.
can add. Or sometimes even at the tab, on your workspace.
So you got a lot of stuff here. You got live stacking for PixInsight. So if you want to do a live stack, this will start that kind of stuff. You got flat panel, you got security monitor, you got history, you have live stacking, you got rotator, you got focuser, you got filter wheel, camera, and image. So you can and you can move, like I said, you can move all these things as you go. So if I turn back on my camera, I can just click on the tab and drag it. Let's say I don't want the camera over here. I want it over here. Now it's over there. Now the camera's over there. This is the whole camera. I don't want the camera here anymore. I want it back. Click on that in the bottom, and there's the camera. There you go. So this is going to look like Tarek's point. This is going to look a lot different for everybody depending on what kind of information you want to see. Down here is where my PhD will be running. Down here.
Yep.
You can make it bigger and smaller and all that. If you don't want this, if you want the PhD bigger, you could do that. If you want it smaller, you could just change it. Make it lower. This is where our big image is going to pop up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So let's see.
Oh, go ahead.
You covered the Sky Atlas a bit, right?
Yep.
Okay. We've talked about framing. There is the Flat Wizard.
There is.
So you can. So the Flat Wizard is, I like it a lot because one, you can. Once you start utilizing the Flat Wizard, it'll save your flat settings.
Yep.
And it'll call it a trained flat. And that way, if you have a particular type of flat panel, say, for example, a Giotto or maybe one of the Pegasus Astros, things that you can do dynamic brightness with, things like those types of flat panels. Once you do your first sets of flats and it saves it, then you can then run and create a template for your flats within the advanced sequencer and run your flats as part of your sequence, depending on the type of flat panel you have and the capabilities of that flat panel. For example, I have a Giotto with an Alto motor, which means it'll open and close my flat panel, and it acts basically as my dust cap, as my lens cap. So for something like that, I can set it up where it will close. The Alto will close the Giotto over the objective of your telescope, and then you can run your flats at either prior to beginning your nightly sequence or soon after. It's entirely up to you. And that's one thing I really like about the flat panel and the flat panel capabilities.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It
I love
makes
that
it
too. That's why I bought. That's why I bought two of them. You know, I got one for my. I got one for my big refractor. I got one for my small refractor, and I sit there and I use them, and it's great because what happens at the end of I do it at the end of the night, right? So, well, it depends on how much time. If I have time before at the beginning of the night, I'll do it. But I like to do it at the end of the night because, you know, you never know what's going to happen during your image session, right? You never know what's going to happen, what piece of dust is going to move or what.
That's
so
true.
So I do it at the end of the night, and it literally closes up. It does all my flats, and I have flats for every night.
Mm-hmm.
So if something happens, and you ever have that one dust mote where you know you have good flats and you can't get rid of that dust mote because you've been using a flat library that's, you know, been working for the past month and now it doesn't anymore. Now you got to take new flats. So this is one of the things. So well, Pegasus not so much because there's no motor on it, although it is a dynamic brightness flat panel. So you'll have to place it. But the Wanderer Astro ones that close, the Deep Sky Dad ones that close, the Giotto with the Alto that close. I've been getting a lot of questions recently on what's the difference between a $300, Wanderer Astro, $400 Wanderer Astro that moves and closes, and the, let's say, $600-700 when you add them both, maybe even 800 for the Giotto Alto.
Combo, yeah.
Number one, the build number one is not 3D printed.
Yeah.
You know, most of these things are 3D printed. The Deep Sky Dab one, the Wanderer Astro, they're all 3D printed. Makes it super light, but it's not as durable as the other stuff. Number two, now if you're using an Eagle, you have ghost mode now, so no USB cables, and it's all Wi-Fi. So even if you're not and you're able to do Wi-Fi, you could do that as well. So no USB-A cables necessary, just one power cable to the Alto makes it happen. And it's just the build itself, the lights that have been tested, the diffuser. I haven't really seen the diffuser and the Wanderer Astro because I don't want to. They actually security tape them closed, so I don't want to. I don't want to open it up and try it unless I'm going to use it for the store. But it could be just as good as far as the light temperature is concerned. I don't know. I'd like to test the light temperature on both from the center to see what you're getting, because the Giotto boasts that they use a light temperature that's very close to the light of the sun. You know, that color daylight. You know, the 5300 K or whatever it is. That's what they say. But I would like to test the both of them and see. It might be pretty cool. All right, so that's the imaging tab, right? You want to just jump into the advanced sequencer, or you just
why don't I jump in? Why don't I take over and I will
sure. I've done enough talking about my throat.
And I'll do the advanced sequencer. And what I'll do is I'll go from a blank profile or somewhat blank profile and also show you my current setup, my current profile as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so not sure. Let me see if I can make this bigger or not. I'm not sure how it looks.
Let's see on YouTube. Let's see.
Zoom it back a little or make it smaller.
Let me see. Hold on a second. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're too big. Give me a second. I could do that.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Awesome.
Is that good?
Yeah. Nope. I think that's good.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So first thing first, let's go to the sequencer tab, and we're going to just go right into the advanced sequencer. All right, now there are different areas of the advanced sequencer that you'll want to be familiar with. The top one here is the sequence start area. This is where you will set up particular instructions, triggers, or steps that will run at the very beginning of when you launch or press this play button here. All right. I will also bounce around, and I'm going to show you my other screen, which is more of what I use currently, but we'll go into that in just a second. So you have your start area for your startup sequence, your startup properties, everything you want to start up initially. It's maybe like your camera cooling, things like that. Set up a time when you want these sequences to run. You can also have what are called your global triggers. Global triggers are tasks that are triggered throughout the entire sequence. Doesn't matter if it's that doesn't matter what part of the sequence that's affected. If there's a task or a trigger that's in the global triggers, such as dither every 2 or 4 or what have you images, you can have that here under global triggers, and so you won't necessarily need it in the rest of your sequences. It'll just be something that no matter what happens throughout the day or throughout your evening, this is what you do. And so that's one that you'll have. And when you can also save certain things, okay? Save certain sequences. Say your startup sequence here. You can keep this area here blank, which is the actual target area where you put instructions and set up your actual target imaging for your targets itself. And then you have a sequence end area, which is everything. Once your sequence is done, maybe by nautical dawn, things like that, things you want to do to wrap up your imaging session for that night. You can put those in here under the sequence end area. And below and to the side here, you have certain instruction sets that you can perhaps run and take a look at. Like there is a deep sky instruction set. This would actually go in the sequence target area space. So if I drag this over here, it'll give you a description. It'll show you what that instruction set entails. The target, the RA declination, and it'll also show the time frame that will run, such as the moon phase, stuff like that, and where it is. Then you can also add this will also have its own specific triggers in this instruction set that you can create. You can create looping conditions to say loop these sets of instructions over and over again until a particular time, right? Then you have actual hard instructions. So one thing, let me go to my Nina here, and I'll drag this over, make it a little bit easier. And maybe, I'll bring it up to the very top. And for global triggers, you can actually, for your global triggers, before you even create something, you can create an initial advanced sequence for your particular setup that does not include any target sequencing, which is great for, and you can save it for recurring tasks or for recurring jobs, things like that. So for example, my global triggers that I have here are to autofocus if there's ever a change in the HFR increase, and it'll give to always restore guiding after maybe it's done in autofocusing. Tell it to dither in how many exposures. I'd always do a meridian flip and also autofocus after every filter change. If you're using a monochrome camera or if you're using a filter wheel and you want to do something like that. Then, so these are the global triggers that no matter what, these triggers will run if a particular task has been completed or needs to be completed throughout your imaging session. So it'll, then I have my basic startup sequence. These are the things in that basic, if I drop this down a little, right here, that sequence start area, these are the tasks that I'm saying do at the startup of every imaging sequence that I run. Such as when I press start on my imaging sequence, it's going to start cool camera. That tells, hey, I have a certain temperature that I want that camera to be at. And you can set a duration of how long you want that cooling process to run. But cooled camera is one thing you want to do. You want to start getting your camera cool if you have a cooled camera. Depending on your telescope, you may say unpark my scope, because sometimes at the end of a sequence at the prior night, your sequence may go, your mount may go home and go set into the park mode. I have it now set to also for my autofocusing. I say switch filter at the very start. And so maybe at last night's sequence, maybe my last filter was HA. But at the start of the new sequence, I wanted to switch over to luminance, and that's going to be the initial filter it starts to run at. And this sequence is also going to wait until a particular time until it begins to go through the next steps. So I say wait for time, nautical dusk, for example, or you can set it to a specific time, sunset, astronomical dusk, or any other time, sunrise, or when the meridian hits. So, and as you can see here, there's check boxes next to these tasks, which tells me these tasks have been completed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just one thing with the global trigger in the top.
At the very top. Yep.
At the very top. So again, with the global, as you said, the global triggers are things that are going to be checked before every single instruction. So these are things that are constantly monitored. Now there is, with certain mounts, there is a glitch with the meridian flip. Very important to double check your meridian flip, because in certain situations, all of a sudden you press start sequence and it will start with the meridian flip, no matter what you do. So you want to make sure that your meridian flip settings in Nina are correct. The biggest thing you want to check is how far past the meridian do you want to go before it does a flip? Is it 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Depending on your mount, how far you want to go past the meridian flip before it happens.
And I believe
it's an options and equipment. And
under equipment. No, it's not here. Maybe it's under
is there a
imaging?
plate solving or
Imaging. It's under imaging. You can say that's where you would set your minutes, the meridian flip settings. I have mine set at 5 minutes.
Okay, that's about average.
Some people may do them a little bit later or earlier, but this is mine. But yes, those meridian flip settings will be here under the options under imaging.
Yeah, that's and also just one thing, you have it set to switch filter on what is it, your startup?
Yeah. For me, it's switch filter at startup. I also, you know what? This one's probably no longer necessary because I also have it set at my end to say, hey, at the end, flip it back to luminance, and so the next time.
But if you're going to the next, because after your wait for time, right, you go into your M51, it looks like. Right? And what do you do there? What do you do next? Because does the switch filter that really matter? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'll show you. This is what mine does. So I have it say switch to filter,
Right?
just so it gets ready. And so next is the actual targeting sequence,
Well,
how things are
okay,
set.
so you also have meridian flip here too.
Yeah,
Take it off one or the other.
right.
You know,
So
I would take it
usually
off the
this will have
global and leave it in your image.
okay. So I can do that, but so here is the reason. Let me go back here. Here's your target, and you can drop this in. You can add your targets and set up your targets first in framing. So here's M51. Load the image, and down at the bottom here, add target to sequence. If you press the drop down arrow, you can either add it to your target list, which is under sequence here. You have your target list. So you can simply just add it to your list of preferred targets. Or if I go back here to framing, you can update your target in sequencer or right mouse click and go down here to sequencer. And if you have a certain instruction set that you've created, you can select that instruction set and it will fill in this information, such as the coordinates, into that instruction set and drop that into the sequencer here, into your target sequence. Now, this whole area, as I said, is for your target, is all deals with your target imaging session. So first thing is you have certain triggers that you may want to have. For me, I have one that's called center after drift. What that will do is it will evaluate after a number of exposures if I'm still basically centered onto my target. This is handy if you ever are if you're experiencing maybe some clouds, some unexpected clouds may roll through that may knock out and they may run through for maybe a certain period of time. So what this will do then is it will check after every 3 images for me if I'm still centered onto my target. If I am not centered on my target based off of the maximum number of arc minutes and per pixel based off of 1 by 1, which I have mine is 1.5, which is 165 pixels. It will then re-slew to that target and center back on that target. And so it'll always check to make sure that the target is centered, where in case there is any moment where there's clouds and then your mount starts to drift away because the mount is still tracking, but it's not maybe tracking perfectly, and now maybe guiding is off and things like that. You have other triggers, such as one Dan mentioned here, meridian flip. And there are other triggers that you can add by hitting the plus button and selecting these other different triggers. So it just really depends on what you need or what you like for your Nina system to do during an imaging session, right? Then you can maybe have, as I said, you have certain loop conditions to say, loop this task until a particular time. We'll go to that section in just a second. And then I also have actual instructions for my imaging sequence. And so right here, I have it set, wait for this time. And once this time hits, so this one's set at 9:30, it will then begin to run the next step. So it's going to wait for this time, then it'll go to the next block. And that next block here is slew and center. So it'll tell my system and my mount to slew to that target, to M51. And it'll check it. Once it is checked and it is centered, then I say the next step is run autofocus. This is when it will begin to autofocus using my luminance filter. It'll run through the autofocusing sequence. Once autofocusing is done, then I will tell it to tell PhD to start guiding. If I wanted to force a calibration, I can simply press the check button here and turn it on to force a calibration. But it doesn't need it, so I won't do it. But that is the initial the initial target sequence. Go to my target. I have certain things that I want you to do during this imaging session. Those are my triggers. When these things happen, you need to run this. You need to do these things. If I have certain loop conditions or recurring or repeated conditions that are going to repeat over and over again, you can set them there. And then you have specific instructions that you will set. And you will tell Nina to do these specific instructions at a specific time. Now, what I also have here are my templates. I have templates that I have created and that you can create as well for your particular imaging session. Say if you're doing narrowband imaging, or perhaps if you're doing LRGB, you're doing them for a certain period of time. Whatever that is, there are some default templates here, such as a basic sequence startup, and then you can customize these. All of these are customizable. You can rename them, all of that. But these are the ones that are the basic default templates, like say your startup sequence. That would be a good one. So if I go back, maybe make it a little easier here. If I go to my blank templates here and I say, this is what I want to do for startup. I drop the basic startup here. Now I can start building within this template, adding on all those different instructions like I just mentioned. For my target, I can add another set of instructions. This is wrong.
Yeah.
But I can start building some other sequences, some other sequence instructions. So for here, I believe, is it this guy? Yeah. And then I can rename this, and then I can start building. These are things that'll actually start going in parallel.
Yeah, there's so many things that you could do.
There's so many things you can do.
You know, you literally, like, remember what Eric was talking about the flat panel. You could drop flat panel instructions in there that say, okay, open the flat panel, close the flat panel, do the memorize flat panel sequence for certain filters. And if anybody's asking what that little red dot is next to the camera or on Park Scope, it'll tell you, because some things aren't connected, it looks like. So cool, your camera's not connected, your scope isn't connected, that kind of stuff. It'll tell you what's not connected.
So if I started connecting, because I'm using simulators.
No, Norm, if you're using Voyager, knock yourself out. I mean, Voyager is a super powerful program. It's just, just with anything else, you just got to learn it. So if you're happy with your acquisition software, whether that be APT, whether that be Voyager, Nina, SGP, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just use what you want. This is something that I use. This is something that Eric uses, and it's very easy to use. Once you get a handle of it. Once you literally sit there and connect all your equipment, and all you really got to do is hit that play button and tweak it and tweak it,
Tweak it.
and then and that's it. Once you have it tweaked to the point where you go through an entire sequence with a meridian flip, it is set it and forget it, man.
So here I just dropped in just the very basic sequence target workflow. And then this is one you can customize. And you see it's also a set of sub instructions. You can customize those. You can keep customizing so many different things. It's pretty impressive on what it can do. Then finally, at the very end, you have a sequence end template here that you can build out, and that way, and you can give instruction on at the end of your sequence what task you want your system to do, such as warming your camera, parking your scope, other things, whatever other pieces of instruction you want to
Close your flat panel.
close your flat panel, things like that. So if I go back here to mine, go back. Here's my active one. I basically used the target sequence, the basic target sequence, dragged it over, and I just started building within and customizing it, and just simply gave it a name. So, for example, here I'm telling it wait for a particular time, slew, do an autofocus, and start guiding. Then I get into the really important stuff, which is how do you want your exposures? How do you want to image? Things like that. So, and you can give everything a name and then simply save it as a new template.
Hey, Eric, I just want to throw it out there in case anybody didn't see it on the chat. 7 minutes left to vote. So,
okay.
7 minutes. We got picture of the month and picture of the week. If you haven't voted yet, I know a lot of people haven't voted that are in the chat because we only got 16 votes for picture of the week, maybe 20 at this point. But we have over 60 for picture of the month. So go out there, vote. Get your vote in now before it's too late. You got 6 minutes left, everybody.
So you can make this as simple or as robust as you want your sequencer or your sequencing to be. So for my imaging sessions, I'm doing say 600 luminance and RGB 300. This is just a name. You can name it whatever you want to do whatever you want, and then you can drag and you can save that template, and it will be here for you to simply drag and drop into your target sequence area. So for me right now, it's going to loop it's going to image until nautical dawn. But however, there's an instruction that says wait for this time, wait for astronomical dusk to start imaging. And you keep and with the loop until time, that means you keep imaging until nautical dawn. And then I have a certain set of exposures. I use smart exposures. I tell it to do a certain number, the exposure, what type of frame it is, binning, the gain, what filter to use. And dithering, I've set to 0 because at my global trigger, I have dithering already here. So it's going to, after every 2 exposures, it's going to dither based off of the global trigger.
Okay.
Some people you don't need to, you may have that in your actual target sequence instruction. That could be a trigger in here, like along with your meridian flip or center after drift. Myself, I built an entire setup to say, okay, run things just like this.
Yeah.
Now, once nautical dawn hits, then it's going to go to the next block of instructions, which is basically stop guiding. For me, because there are plugins you can use that can manipulate PhD2. You can do a shutdown, PhD2. And then there's the robocopy plugin. So then I tell it to copy all the data from my Nina computer to my home computer into a particular folder. And then once that is done, it'll do a particular, then it'll go into, once these tasks are done, it'll start checking things off. Then it will then do its shutdown sequence. And for my shutdown sequence, it's very similar to the very basic end of sequence. Yep. Where it's going to do, I told it to stop robocopy, return my filter to luminance, warm the camera, park the scope.
There you go.
And then that's it. And again, like I said, you can build each of these blocks the way you want, name them what you want, and then you can save them under templates. So let's see if we got any questions.
No, but if you guys like, let me share something real quick.
Yep, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, so now that we've completely scared the crap out of people with the advanced sequencer, there's an easier way, but not as functional. And sometimes this is all you need.
Yep, sometimes.
Sometimes it's all you need. So if you just want to add a new target, and here is the simple sequencer, and it's very, very easy. So here's your options: cool the camera, unpark the mount, and meridian flip. Okay, end target end options: warm it and park it. Okay, you could choose your target just from the framing, just like before. So if I wanted M42, we would just add target to sequence into the legacy sequencer, and there it is. We'll get rid of this target. You don't need the one that says target, just the one that says M42. Delay start if you want to, sequence mode. Okay, don't forget to do the target options. Okay, slew the target, center target. If you want to rotate, start guiding. And then your autofocus routine. Autofocus on wherever you want to focus. I'll do it after, I don't know, let's say after 5 exposures. Okay, and on the filter change, right? We want to have that happen on the filter change. And then we want more than one sequence. So we're going to add a couple. So we're going to do that's the progress where it's at now. How many do we want? Okay, I want 10 photos. I want them at 60 seconds. It's a light. We're going to use my luminance. No binning. Dither is on every 2 frames, let's say. And the gain and the offset are set in the camera settings. That's why it says camera. But now I want to do other ones. I want to do RGB. You just hit plus, and it'll add more lines at the same one as the other one is set. All you got to do is change the filter to red, and then to green, and then to blue, and then you're set. You're done. You're set for M42. You hit the lovely play button, and away you go. So there is an easier way if you don't need all that functionality. But if you want to do other stuff like automation, automation of your flat panel, automation of your, anything, your offset settings, you want
to take advantage of certain plugins.
Yes, some people want to just do a little bit of everything. So. This, if you want quick and dirty, and this is all you need, nothing wrong with using this. Nothing wrong with using it. But just so you know, there is an easier way to do things and an easier way to get started. You can jump in and just learn with the advanced sequencer, but you could definitely use the simple sequencer, the regular one.
Yep.
So
Yep,
And
and you can save. You can even save those settings. If I kill my stuff here, you can. And with that, in both ways, you can save those sequence settings and then reuse them for future, for future targets. You can set it up a certain way and set it up for LRGB using the simple sequencer or SHO, just like Dan said, and go into your create that SHO if you're doing narrowband, and then go to the framing, choose what target you want, and then just add it, drop it into the sequencer. It pops up, and then everything else will be there for your narrowband imaging. And then all you need to do is just press the play button, and then off you go. So it just depends on how deep down the rabbit hole you want to get. Just like doing here, going back and forth.
There you go. Now you're back to
So,
normal.
yeah. So it
No,
just
it's not,
depends.
Tom. It's not about feeling stupid. It's not about listen. This is not something that you learn overnight, right? So
It isn't.
So you gotta kind of, you don't. If you don't need all that, don't use it. That's all it is. It's just showing you the actual power and the functionality of this program, that you could sit there and really tweak down your entire workflow, so you could really get down to the bare bones of everything, from your meridian flip to the filter changes to the offset settings to your plate solving and your flat panel and your flat wizard and all that kind of stuff. You could do all of that. So it's really, really a great way to kind of really keep control of what your workflow actually looks like. So and then, Tom, even if you don't have an observatory, it's good. We didn't even go over it, but there is a dome tab on there, because a lot of people don't have automated domes out there. But for those of you that do have ASCOM controlled domes, it will run your dome for you. It'll rotate your dome for you. It'll close your shutter. It will shut down your dome. It will rotate your dome. It'll do everything you need to do.
Do all that stuff.
It'll do everything. I use it for everything now. I don't use it for anything else. I just throw it on my Eagle and I'm done.
Yeah, and again, the cool thing about Nina is, biggest thing is that it's free. That's the biggest thing.
And let me just
it is still open source. It's free software. That's one of the bigger things.
And let me just show this really quick. So to answer, I didn't see the question, but is there a polar alignment routine? Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
There is. It's right there. That's a 3-point polar alignment routine. So it is there. You can use it, and it works perfectly.
Yep.
So
one thing I also like is the Horizon Creator, because you can purchase, say, if you have an Apple iPhone, I don't know if that's for Android, but the Autolite, you can Pegasus Patriot Astro set up as a video on how to create an artificial horizon for using in Stellarium, into Nina, all other things, which is really cool. And so you can drop in that artificial horizon, and that helps you know, okay, when to basically start that sequence if you're going to have obstructions or anything like that. So that's one nice thing I like about Nina, is that people keep creating different things for it.
It has Nina has now its own Horizon Creator. It's not as easy to do, I would think, as the way Patriot Astro showed using Theodolite or whatever it is. Basically, what you're doing is you're taking your iPhone and you're taking a picture of all the obstructions going in a 360 degree. You're making a big panoramic kind of thing, and you're taking the picture of your backyard, and you're literally you want it on a tripod. You want to be able to kind of do things and make sure it's as accurate of pointing as possible, and go around in a circle and go over the trees, around the trees, in between the phone lines, whatever you want to do. And then you could download that after a little bit of tweaking. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and you dump that into a program, and then you dump it into Nina, and it creates your blockage. And so if you go behind a tree, Nina will know you're behind that tree.
Yeah, it'll let you know.
I think do I even have it? I think I have it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I know it's here somewhere. There
What's
used to
that?
be a picture of the horizon that you could see. Like a little circle that shows you what's blocked off from your backyard.
Well, there is a button, and let's see, but there is the Horizon Creator.
No, where's the actual? There's a way you could actually see what you could kind of see.
Gotcha.
And I don't remember where it is, but oh well. There's a big circle that shows you the entire sky and all green where it's blocked out. Thought it was under options.
No, I know there is under my imaging and under the framing wizard. Once you select the target, if you have that artificial horizon file created, it'll show all the bumps and all the highs and lows of
well, like
the
here,
obstruction.
it's behind you, but let me just let's see. And let's move you out of the way for a second. That means we'll pan you right there. So there you go. So now I guess this is M42 here's the line of M42 here, this black line. So obviously it's not out. If we want to do something that's out now, what's out now?
M51. Do M51.
51 will be good. Yep. I do 51 and load image, this will all change. So now here is when it's not available to me. So it's available right now to me until about, I don't know, about 2:23 in the morning. That's when it'll no longer be good for me.
Yeah, which is also cool because you can actually, if you if you hold the left mouse button over the target line, it will tell you as you drag up and down. It'll tell you when it's going to hit that obstruction. At the altitude, it'll tell you the altitude, the degrees rather, and what time it's going to hit that obstruction, which is pretty cool.
Yep. And neither say, so now if you put loop until target is below the horizon, right? So you could sit there on that advanced sequencer and do that. When you sit there and you go into the advanced sequencer, and then you're going to go, and the way you could kind of do it is just go loop, and then loop until altitude, loop until moon altitude, whatever. So if I go loop until altitude below, and I just slap it in the instructions.
Under loops, under loop.
Where's the loop?
Because it's a loop.
There it is. Did I take the wrong one?
You grabbed the wrong one. You grabbed iterations.
There's loop until altitude below. You could do that. Or you could do loop. Where is it? Loop until time. Loop while altitude above the horizon, which is right there. So now if you have your horizon set already with your local horizon, once it hits that intersection between the horizon and that target line, it'll stop.
Yep.
And it'll go to the next whatever part you're
if you're
at.
doing multiple targets. Yeah, if you're doing multiple targets, it'll go to the next set of target instructions, or to go to the sequence end instructions.
There you go.
Okay. I think
it's that time, man.
we have hit time. So let me minimize a couple things here. All right.
I'm getting hungry too. Ooh.
All right. So let's first off, let me share my screen again.
It's under options general. Let's see.
So here we have our image of the week entries. We have, actually that's the wrong date, but we have M33 by Wilfredo. He had joined the imaging, the image of the week. We have the Northern Lights by Greg Meyer. Ro Fiucas, the Ro Cloud by Sensor 32. This is a new person out of Melbourne, Florida. And then we also have from the Southern Hemisphere, we've got the Running Chicken Nebula by Oliver Beresford. And we had 15 votes. So we need to get better with this one, guys, for image of the week.
15.
But 15.
No.
So, but let me go here to dashboard.
Yeah, it's 23. So.
Oh, okay. Refresh it. All right.
Yeah.
Yep, I didn't refresh it. So let's go to the poll.
It's still low. 23 is still low.
Yeah, 23 is still low.
And the winner for the image of the week
is the Ro Cloud by Sensor
Look at that.
32. Congratulations. Out of Melbourne, Florida.
And we don't have a name for that one, right? We don't have...
No, we didn't. No, there was no name, actual name.
No name.
Yeah. Just I was able to just try to pull that information just off of out of Google.
Yep.
So, but no, congratulations.
Congratulations to Ro Cloud.
Yes. So whoever Sensor 32 is, congratulations. We got a congrats, Brian.
There you go.
Oh, okay. So Brian there. Congrats, sir. So, all right. Now, let's hop on over.
Congratulations to Brian. All right, cool.
Yeah. Let's head on over to Image of the Month. And what in the world happened?
What did you do?
Oh, I think it closed on me.
It might have, because it was just there.
Yeah, it was just there. So I think it closed after it hit its deadline for the poll. I think it shut off.
Image of the month.
So,
no, it's still there. It's still there on mine.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck happened.
All right, I'll share mine real quick. You get the poll ready.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and get the poll if you want to.
Okay, so picture of the month, right? Image of the month. We got, for April, we got M51 by Dave and Tom, followed by Leo Trio by Dave, and the Totality Shot by Jackie. And then we got another Totality Shot by Greg. And Jason Pellegrini with his Rosette Nebula. And we had 60 votes.
We got 60 votes.
We got 60 votes. And with that being said, I'll hand that back to Eric for the results.
Yep. All right. So we had 60 votes, and our winner is for April 2024
April
Image
20,
of the Month.
and you'll be in the calendar. And the April
Yes.
2024 winner is M51 by Dave
M51 by
Schaefer.
Dave and Tom.
Dave and Tom. Oh, yeah, that's Dave and Tom. That's the
There's a
collaboration.
collaboration by Dave and Tom.
Wow.
So congratulations.
No eclipse pictures. Wow, I'm
No
shocked.
eclipse pictures. I am surprised too.
Even though they were all good pictures, I figured the eclipse would make it. And then I think what I'm going to do, because I did what last year, I put the annular eclipse in there as an honorable mention. I think I'm going to do I'm going to do an honorable mention page at the end of the year with all of the, and we'll do another poll for all the totalities, just for totality, and we'll get the best one in there. May the best person win on that.
Well, congratulations to our winners.
Awesome job to everybody. Dave and Tom should be in timeout so others can win. Yeah, we'll get an eclipse picture in the catalog, just like I got an annular last year, because there was only one. I think it was by Greg Meyer, if I remember right. And you know, just so you know, image of the month is fine, but now you could only get one image of the month, everybody. Just don't forget that. That's it. So that does allow other people to win. So even though that you get picture of the week, you're only eligible for one picture of the month. So the good news is Dave and Tom are now out of the running for picture of the month. So you guys are done either way.
Either way.
So if you have more than one at this point in April, then you must choose, and the second place winner would take the other
second
spot.
Place winner will
and that's how that works.
If in this case, you had Dave and Tom, and Dave came in also, he came in second for his own solo of the Leo Trio, then it's only fair if Dave already won with his collaboration. He can't win off of the Leo Trio, so then we would have went down.
You're exactly right. This could get kind of with the collaborations. You could kick Greg out, out of the running. But so I'll have to look at January, February, and March and see. It's about that time where we got to start watching that now after the first quarter. So we got to start watching, see who's winning. Or see who won and that kind of stuff, and we'll start getting the tally up at the end. I know I've been a little bit laxed on doing the thank yous to the subscribers and the people on Patreon and stuff like that. I don't want to lose that, because I think it's important to say thank you to all the members that help us out on Patreon, YouTube, and all the rest. I think it's super important. So we're gonna get back to doing that. And also back to doing the sponsors as well once we get some more. So a nice job to Brian, and nice job to Tom and Dave. Nice job, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations, guys.
Awesome.
So before we head out, I was talking to you a little earlier about there's this new script in Pix Insight. Pix Insight, there's always people coming out with new scripts and stuff like that. So SETI Astro came out with a new script for locating the best background area, say, of your of an image that you have maybe within Pix Insight. Maybe you have a image that you have a dense star field, or somewhere where there's just a lot of stars and you just can't be able to figure out where the background is. So you can use that for background neutralization and your color calibration, or say SPCC, things like that. So he did just bring out this new script. It's in beta. He did release a YouTube video on it today as well. I believe it is, if I bring up the name of it.
Somebody said it's a
Um,
background
it's
identification.
Find Background Beta. It says, yeah, it's called Find Background, and it's in the beta.
Okay.
So I am very intrigued on utilizing this. He's also done a statistical stretch. Yep, Brian. I have not had an opportunity to use that one yet, where you're using where it makes it a little bit easier to do your stretches, and it does use, I believe, generalized hyperbolic stretch
Okay.
to do this. So that's another one that's maybe one, if you're using Pix Insight and you like using certain scripts for things. I know I use Bill Blanchard's scripts a lot, like the screen stars, which is one of my favorites. The narrowband colorization scripts, stuff like that. So there are some really cool scripts out there that have just hit the street that you may want to go and take a look at. Look on YouTube for SETI Astro and check that out. Never met him, anything like that, but I thought it was a really cool script and quite helpful, I think, when you're doing your color calibration and helping with that background neutralization.
Cool.
So it'll create a preview and all that stuff, if I'm not mistaken. And then you can just drop that. It'll create a preview. It'll create its own preview. You drop that sucker in, and off you go. So
awesome.
It's pretty good.
Nice.
Should be very interested to see how it all comes out.
Very, very good. All right, everybody. Well, great night, a great show, very informative. Maybe we'll get into a little bit more on the advanced sequencer and some offsets and flat panel training and all that kind of stuff. So maybe we'll do something like that on next Friday. And just remember, I find your lack of logic disturbing. And, but a great show, great job with the presentation on the advanced sequencer. Thank you, Eric. And it's been a great night again. Congratulations again to Brian and Tom and Dave. So great job. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. And if you're so inclined to subscribe to us on YouTube, if you're not, please do. Or if you want to go the step further and buy us a cup of coffee on Patreon, we're on there as well. So thank you everybody for hanging out. Eric, any final thoughts?
No, this again, great show. Hopefully everybody likes that. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Enjoy that stuff. We would really appreciate that if you're on Facebook or here on YouTube. That would really be helpful. And just enjoy the weekend. Enjoy whatever clear skies that you may have this weekend. If you're going to go out and image, I've got tonight, and that's it. I'm pretty much done after tonight.
It's been raining here for the past 5 days, so I hear you.
Oh yeah. So, but again, thanks everybody for your continued support of AstroWorld and AstroWorld TV, and have a great weekend ahead.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, have a great night. Have a great weekend. I got to work tomorrow, so I'm not. So, I mean, I'll be working. My business never has a weekend off. I've had a dry week, Eric. I haven't had a drop of alcohol in a week. It's very
dude. What's up with you?
I think I need to do a really quick. I need a beer. No, sorry. But anyway, everybody have a great weekend. If you're a Ranger fan, congratulations. You're in the Eastern Conference Finals, and us Islander fans hate you. And we'll see everybody on next Wednesday. So everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself, and remember, as always, to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Have a good night, everybody.
See you, everybody.